Falcha, and welcome to another Friday Reflections. I'm Rob Smith, also known as Jazz Smudson. Àrd-dhruidh is àrd-ollamh na, the Arch-druid and chief doctor of art of the tribe. We're continuing to improve and add to the website, and we've now uploaded a daily ritual and rituals for the dark of the moon and the new moon, as well as the rituals for Imbolc and Beltane, which you can find in the members section. The book club reading Celtic Heritage is continuing, and Aikeno, also known as Alexander, will shortly be starting an Ogham course for those interested. The summer solstice is in 2 days' time. The solar festivals are controversial, as some Celtic pagans believe the ancient Celts did not celebrate them. However, there is a lot of evidence from myth, folklore, tradition, and pastoral and the agricultural cycles that the solstice was an important time and was indeed celebrated. The primary myth is the first battle of Moyturrid, when the àrd-dhruidh battle their cousins, the Fèis Cliair. The myth states that the battle takes place, quote, in the middle of summer when half the season was gone. It also says it occurred 6 weeks after the landing of the àrd-dhruidh at Beltane. The battle is important as it established the supremacy of the àrd-dhruidh over Ireland. During the course of the battle, Noaha loses his right arm after combating Streng. Breach decrees that the High King must be without blemish. As a result, Noaha cannot continue as High King. The women of the Tuatha urge them to elect Uwchi Bres, who is half Fomor. The Tuatha do so, but the iniquity of his reign leads to the rebellion of the Tuatha and the second battle of Moyturrid against the Fomor. One of the contrasts between the two battles is that the first battle can be viewed as, quote, civilized, unquote, warfare, as against, quote, brutal, unquote, warfare of the second. In the first, the Tuatha and the Fèis Cliair exchanged weapons, so that neither would have an advantage. A week before the battle, the two sides have a game of hurling. The Tuatha offer to share Ireland 50-50. Even injured Noaha offers Streng, quote, fair combat, unquote. He asks that Streng ties up his right arm so they would be equal. Only when Streng refuses to do this do the Tuatha, who have the upper hand, agree to peace. The Fèis Cliair take either the outlying islands or the province of Connaught, depending on which version of the myth you're reading. Another myth relevant to this time of year is the tryst of Áine and Manannán. The myth comes from the Fenian cycle, which is the youngest of the 4 Irish cycles. Áine's brother, either Fèis or Éileann, is in love with Uchtgelv, the icon of breasts, one of Manannán's wives. Áine arranges a meeting between herself, her brother, Manannán, and Uchtgelv at Carn Manannán, Manannán's cairn. There she seduces Manannán so that her brother can be with Uchtgelv. Manannán then takes her to his land in the otherworld. Each year the people around Knockany, the hill of Áine, would perform a pilgrimage and light a bonfire at the top of the hill. There are numerous local stories in local folklore. In one, a girl is given a hagstone, and through it she sees the Earth She celebrating on the hill. In another, the celebrations were cancelled due to the death of a local farmer, yet people could still see the Earth She themselves carrying on the celebration. In yet another, Áine herself appears to ask the revellers to vacate the hill at midnight so that her She could carry out the festivities themselves. One warning the pilgrims were given was that they had to take notice of the position of the moon, or they would never find their way home. The act of building and burning bonfires on the summer solstice was commonplace throughout Ireland, Scotland, and the Isle of Man, as described by Danaher in The Year of Ireland, Moore in the Folklore of the Isle of Man, and by Alexander Carmichael in the Carmina Gadelica. The bonfires were built as large and as high as possible, so that the smoke would drift over the fields, blessing and purifying the corn. This tradition continues in Northern Ireland, but it's been transferred to July the 12th. One tradition which is also continuing is that people would try and steal material from their neighbours' fires. You reduce the blessing to your neighbours while increasing the blessings of your own fields. Even now, young men would guard the bonfires in Northern Ireland to make sure this doesn't happen. As well as building bonfires, wisps, also known as torches or brands, would be taken round the fields of corn, to the seashore and even out to sea. On land, it was literally, quote, the fire of the corn, unquote, to encourage the growth of crops. At sea, it was so that Rhín Amara, the king of the sea, Manannán, would send fish. This gives us the name of the festival, Fèis Cliair, Feast of the Wisps. The other major myth that occurs at the summer solstice is the Dinseanchas àrd-dhruidh, or Dowth. The myth tells how Ireland was afflicted by a cattle plague, which killed all but one bull and 7 cows. Bressil Bodibad, Bressil, beautiful one, Bodibad, the cattle plague, decides to build a tower, quote, so he can pass to heaven, unquote. His sister Bui, the wife of Ogham, uses her àrd-dhruidh, or magic, to, quote, check the sun above her head until the work is complete. However, Bui's actions caused her brother to go into a frenzy, and he commits rape and incest on her. By doing so, the magic is broken, and night falls. Dowth is cursed to be forever the height it is now, and will never be any higher. The nearby henge at Dowth Hall is aligned to the summer solstice, and this may be Fèis Cliair, where the rape took place. Dowth has alignments with the Neolithic lunar standstills, the heliacal rise of Venus, the Pleiades of the summer solstice, and all 4 of the great or fire festivals. The solstice is the occasion for the start of sheep shearing, and the last date for the bulling of cows, so calves would be born in March and April, ready for the transhumance of Beltane. The bull and 7 cows may be a reference to the Pleiades. The Pleiades are a star cluster in the constellation Taurus. In Ireland, the sight of the Pleiades in conjunction with the moon was characterized as the sisters chasing the moon. But it could quite easily be the 7 cows chasing the bull. Áine and her sisters are said to ride out at the full moon, and the Cailleach, Bui, gives birth to the full moon once every 19 years at Cailleach na Mointeach opposite the stones of Callanish. As well as sheep shearing and bull rearing, there are a number of plants that bloom at this time. St. John's wort, for example, produces beautiful yellow flowers. Meadowsweet, the favoured flower of Áine, produces clusters of white flowers, and vervain also blooms at this time of year. As you can see from the myths, there are plenty of reasons the ancient Celts would commemorate the summer solstice. You can find a more detailed examination of the myths, traditions and folklore of the summer solstice on our website. However you plan to celebrate, I wish you Fèis Cliair, happy summer solstice, and may Áine and Manannán grant their blessings. Until next time, Bianach Vrana Let, may the blessings of the gods go with you, and Lísh Gach Jo Gurach, best regards.